So we have participation from 5 countries,
Oh,
which is
wonderful.
excellent. Like, it's more than excellent.
नमस्कार, निफ्ट पटना के ऑनलाइन प्रांगण में मैं आपको स्वागत करती हूँ। आज मैं आपको ऐसी महिलाओं से परिचय करवाऊंगी जिन्होंने न केवल अपने आप को आत्मनिर्भर बनाया है, बल्कि भारत के हस्तशिल्प और कारीगरी को देश विदेश में प्रचारित किया है। आइए मैं आपको ऐसी तेजस्विनी महिलाओं से मिलाती हूँ। Our first speaker for the evening is Jhumki Iyengar. Jhumki achieved her master's degree in Human Factors Engineering Design from Tufts, USA, a master's degree in Product Design from IIT Mumbai, and a BE in Mechanical Engineering from the College of Engineering, Pune. Jhumki has worked in several lead-edge corporations for over 16 years and runs her own consulting firm, User in Design, and has several thought lead research papers and articles. She is a speaker in national and international forums. She is also an adjunct professor at IIT Kanpur and lead instructor at Pittsburgh Luma. She has conducted workshops for rural youth at Khandala village, Maharashtra, as well as Rasolabad, Kanpur Dehat, UP. This led to her conceiving Orna. 3 years ago, she has launched Orna in US as a design-led social enterprise focused on sustainable products that enable financial independence among rural homebound women and preserve time-honored craft traditions. Jhumki, welcome to NIFT.
Thank you.
Navisa Shergill and Mitali Seth, GMT 2000 batch, NIFT New Delhi, AMM 2000 batch, NIFT New Delhi. Welcome, and they represent the company Alum Studio. With combined experiences in product quality, sourcing, merchandising, marketing, they launched a boutique sourcing agency catering to high-end and runway and bridal designers. In 2010, they launched their home textiles company, Alum Studio. Alum Studio has won many awards for Best New Product and Design at NYNOW. Their products have been regularly featured in press. Initially, starting with a capsule collection of throw pillows, they have expanded their product category to bed linen, table linen, etc. They would soon be launching their own textile fabric line. They have worked with companies like J. Crew, Armani Exchange, Next in Triberg, and Impulse, respectively. Welcome back on campus, Lavisa and Mitali.
Thank you.
Rupa Ganguly is an international textile and trade specialist by profession. Rupa is an entrepreneur at heart, and her company, Inclusive Trade, is a novel e-commerce platform. By linking every purchase to United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, at Inclusive Trade, she is building a global community of like-minded consumer, corporates, and artisans. She has coined the term Shop by Impact. She has worked with Geneva-based United Nations Agency, the International Trade Center, ITC, World Trade Organization, WTO, and is recognized trade and sustainability professional, and is a prolific speaker and business panels at Paris, Davos, Geneva, New York, and others. She has a degree in economics, postgraduate from Textile Design Department, NIFT New Delhi, a master's in textile management from the Leeds University, UK, and a certificate in international law from the London School of Economics. She is a fellow of the School for Social Entrepreneurs, UK, and of the 260-year Royal Society for Arts, Manufacturers and Commerce, UK. In 2017, she was recognized as one of the 6 nominees across UK for a contribution to science and technology at the Asian Women's Achievement Awards for a contribution in connecting several hundred women artisans in textile sectors across Asia, Africa, Latin America, Eastern and Western Europe through digital innovation and virtual networks. Rupa, welcome back to campus.
Thank you.
Dr. S.K. Panda, former Secretary, Ministry of Textiles, is closely associated with NIFT and with promotion of art and craft in general and empowerment of women in particular for more than 3 decades. He has been Secretary Handloom, Handicraft and Sericulture, Secretary in Tripura, Secretary Social Welfare dealing with empowerment of women in Tripura, as Chief Secretary to Tripura, and as the national level, at the national level as Union Secretary, Ministry of Textiles. His work for empowerment of tribal women through sericulture was globally recognized, for which he was awarded the prestigious International Louis Pasteur Award for outstanding contribution to sericulture and silk industry. He has a number of publications on crafts of India, which include mulberry, sericulture, empowering tribal women. Sir, thank you for joining us. Mr. Sanjay Srivastava is the director NIFT Patna, and he has been instrumental in setting up the institute. He has been a founding faculty of NIFT Patna and has had the additional charge of NIFT Bhubaneswar. He has also served as the faculty at NIFT Hyderabad and is an astute academician and administrator under which NIFT Patna has grown from strength to strength. With over 24 years of experience in the institute, he can truly be called one of the pillars of NIFT. Dr. Bhani Jha is Senior Professor and former Dean Academics in National Institute of Fashion Technology, New Delhi, and is the moderator for the evening. An educator and design consultant, her interests in the socio-cultural aspects of Indian fashion include identity, fashion education, and sustainable design. I am your host for the evening, Associate Professor Nilima Regina Tupno. I welcome all the speakers, and over to you, Bani ma'am. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Nilima. Namaste, good morning, and good evening to all our panelists and viewers who have joined from different time zones. That means India, UK, Switzerland, USA, and Canada for today's webinar, based on the theme, Women in Sustainable Craft Entrepreneurship, the Changing Dynamics. The handicraft sector in India has an estimated 7 million artisans, approximately half of them being women, contributing to the domestic and export markets. The need for self-reliance has been emphasized by our Prime Minister's clarion call for Atmanirbhar Bharat, along with several initiatives by the Ministry of Textiles to support artisans for sustainable livelihoods. Entrepreneurship is crucial in modern India, creating new products and services and expanding markets that produce a cascading effect by stimulating related ventures that support and in turn are supported by specific sectors and communities, furthering all-round socio-economic development while sustaining India's immense tangible cultural capital. This webinar focuses on 3 key aspects: crafts, specifically handicrafts, women entrepreneurs, and sustainable business. It aims to provide a tripartite perspective of private enterprises, government, and design institutes in the context of crafts through the success stories of 3 brands spearheaded by women entrepreneurs who live and work in different countries. They hail from different academic specializations and interestingly have ventured into the realm of crafts, working closely with artisans to reimagine and reposition crafted products from India in the Indian as well as global markets. As founders and CEOs of very successful companies, their work underscores the uniqueness of the handmade in ways that resonate with consumer preferences in India and abroad. Jhumki Agarwal is based in Pune. Her Orna is her social enterprise. Mitali Seth and Lovisa Shergill live in the USA and Canada, respectively, and are co-founders of Alum Studio, based in Massachusetts, USA. London-based Rupa Ganguly is the founder of Inclusive Trade Limited. So my first question for the women entrepreneurs on this panel: what has been your journey as entrepreneurs and specifically as women entrepreneurs? What led to your decisions of venturing into craft-based enterprises? And how do you view the changing dynamics of Indian and global markets in terms of trends, product positioning, and consumer preferences. So may I request Chunki to speak first, please?
Thank you so much, Bunny. Let me share my screen and make my journey visual. So good evening. It's my pleasure to be here and to be speaking about Orna, a brand I launched 3 years ago. So Orna is a social enterprise I launched 3 years ago at age 57 with a background neither in textiles nor fashion. My career has been about bridging industry and academia, and with the increasing recognition that design has a big role to play in society, and adding that component to it is what led to Orna being born. Our mission started with and continues to be to provide employment to unskilled, homebound women using sustainable and organic materials and preserving some of the craft traditions and integrating them into contemporary products. We believe that design is a very powerful tool for social good, that when you uplift a woman, you uplift a family. And also that unless we pursue sustainability aggressively, harmful, low cost will overpower us soon. We also believe that opportunity is the only difference that separates the us from the them. And of course, we exist because of our past and we stand on our past. So the thought of can design with a purpose serve and also inspire the underserved. So it started with this kind of a hypothesis that design can become a basis for empowerment among people with low literacy and skill if the vehicle chosen is a contextually relevant medium. And the contextually relevant medium chosen was craft. So our products, essentially home products and bags, are jute-based because of my roots in Bengal. And it's using jute as a base fabric. We combine with regional Indian fabrics to create designs that are contemporary yet a bit traditional. So starting with my background in people-centered design and looking initially, of course, at the customer as the user, and for example, trying to understand when people use products, where are some of the gaps? And simultaneously also looking at the homebound maker as user, what is possible for women like this with very minimal skills to make? And of course, what designs is jute suitable for? So what are some of the product possibilities? And this is an early prototype, just as an example of when you're in a meeting or going into a meeting or sitting in a flight and you want to get work done. You have your laptop, but along with it, you have a whole lot of paraphernalia, pen and book and your laptop and cables and your boarding pass and everything. So that led to this, which is a product today, a laptop sleeve. And looking also at the homebound maker as the user, using craft as a draw, because craft is joyful, craft is colorful, craft is creative. And empowerment happens as a consequence, where Jyoti over here didn't even know how to hold a scissor. when we started. So significant effort into making things easy to learn and easy to make. That's a very key part of what we do. And we try to integrate craft and traditions into contemporary products. So Orna's journey started towards the end of 2017 with a basic online shop launched in the US. And a little bit of a turning point happened when we were selected as a market incubator by NY Now, a trade show in New York, because of our social impact work. And that followed 2 shows at NY Now, following which this wholesale platform called Fair asked us to put up our products on Fair. And thereafter, much earlier than expected and desired, we launched in India, just because we wanted to get the momentum going and continue the employment of the women. And thereafter was the last and third show at NY Now. Following which COVID happened, with, of course, a flurry of e-commerce related, thinking on and running on the fly, trying to get things going. So that's been kind of Orna's journey. And there have been several discoveries and pitfalls working across the globe, designing in India and selling overseas, and also selling in India. I'll share some more details on this perhaps later. So that's what Orna is about, building global bridges using design as a tool of inclusion and empowerment.
Thank you. Thank you, Jhumki. That was very interesting. Mitali, would you share your perspective, please?
Yes, sure. Thank you, Professor Jha. Thank you all for coming and joining the webinar this Sunday night. We hope our experiences and learnings can be beneficial for you. I would like to start our presentation with a short movie clip on our company. We hope you enjoy. Here it is.
Alum Studio, inspired by traditional crafts of India, modern heirlooms for your home. Alum Studio is the design expression of 2 friends, Mitali Seth and Louisa Shergill. While studying at NIFT, they had promised to work together, and that opportunity came in 2006. Together, they launched a boutique sourcing company that catered to high-end textile, interior, and apparel designers. In 2010, they launched their own home textile company, Alum Studio. With emphasis on slow fashion, eco-friendly manufacturing, ethical sourcing, and the usage of traditional weaves, fabrics, and surface techniques, Alum Studio soon managed to carve its own niche in the market. We have collaborated with craft clusters in Bhuj, Bagru, Muradabad, Panipat, and Pochampalli to create limited edition capsule collections. Our designs have been featured in prominent magazines, celebrity homes, and high-end retail stores. Our goal has always been to make responsible choices with an overall intent to do good throughout the process of creation and selling.
Thank you all for watching. I hope it was informative and entertaining for all of you. I would like to now briefly talk about Alum Studio, our brand, and what it stands for. Right from the beginning, Lavisa and I, we both were of the shared belief that we wanted to give back and contribute in any way possible to the handicraft industry. Alum Studio was born out of the need to do so. Being from the industry, we were aware of the disparities that were present at the ground level, be it of income, awareness, education, exposure. And this was an effort from our side to make sure that we could make some kind of a social impact into the lives and livelihoods of these talented artisans that we had been working with. Also, while working for our clients here in US, we realized that there was a big gap in the expectation and understanding of Indian handicrafts here in US and Canada. Northern American market was not at all aware or had explored the wealth of exquisite craftsmanship present in India. With a tweak of modern design, we wanted to bring these beautiful products and techniques to the forefront. With that in mind, Alum Studio was launched, modern heirlooms for your home. Moving on to the next slide, I would like to speak a little bit about sustainability and how slowly and steadily it is making its presence known in all aspects of the industry. High fashion, fast-moving trends are giving way to slow, eco-friendly, conscious efforts by many companies. The 3 R's of the sustainability model, that is repurpose, recycle, and refashion, are comprehensively being applied, researched, and prioritized by many companies to make sure their product is more healthy for you and me and healthy for the world. It would not be wrong to say that sustainability is the zeitgeist of this era. With that, I would ask Lavisa to speak more on sustainability and its effect on consumer preferences and market trends. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitali. Hello, everyone. When we launched in 2010, we were a part of a very small number of home textile companies that focused on unique artisan-made handcrafted products from India. And now, a decade later, there are so many brands that are in the fray, and it clearly shows that how over time, the market for a handicrafts industry has grown in North America, and not just in America, but globally. As you can view in this slide, the data shows that the worldwide, there has been a steady partiality towards sustainable products amongst all age groups. There is an ethical component in the purchasing decisions of different consumers. And consumers are making ethically sound choices. They understand how the products that they choose to purchase can have a positive or a negative impact. And this leaning towards handmade products and sustainable products, they have a huge socioeconomic implications. And thus, there's a tremendous potential to benefit our craft community. Retailers are taking note of this. And you'll find it interesting to know that words like khadi, like bandhani, dabu print, kantha, ikat, kalamkari, these are the words that are being used to describe the products here in North America, and people understand and appreciate it. Now I'll talk about trends. Home textile trends tend to have a longer lifespan than fashion, and which has worked really well for us. Globally, over the past decade, there has been a lean towards colors and textures found in nature, of usage of natural fabrics, recycled fabrics. And when you look at these holistically, the naturals, the blues, the terracottas, etc., they're mirroring the broader trend of sustainability and of appreciating the resources and designs of Mother Earth. So products that reflect earthiness, which are handmade, which project a certain rawness, products that are sourced from nature or have recycled origins, products that show the trial and error of human experiment. These are the kind of products being preferred by the consumers. And we as a brand, as designers, we try to tick as many boxes as we can while still being true to our design aesthetic and brand identity. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, Mitali. Thank you, Lavisa. Rupa, would you share your views briefly, please? Thank you.
Hi, thanks very much for having me today. And I am conscious that we're all running a little bit short on time. So I will try to contain my own remarks, but I would love for you to watch a certain film as well. But let me just share my screen first so that we can get started. Here we go. Right. So let me just firstly very briefly say what we're doing. I've always been very passionate about technology and at the same time, extremely passionate about traditions and handicrafts. So it was by no coincidence that inclusive trade was born to literally marry these two elements, tradition with technology. So now in terms of having worked, and I mean, of course, I invite you to ask me questions later, but with my background at the United Nations and having worked on so many development projects around the world, the one thing that became absolutely critically clear to me, and I think both Lovisa and Vitali have said, and Junki have also mentioned, the idea that sustainability is not just something that is a trend, it is here to stay. It is something that we should incorporate in the very core of everything we do if we want to have a future. And it's not just about the future that you see for yourself, but actually for the planet, for your children and everyone else. So what better place but for me to look at the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations as my guiding mantra, if you like, to look at how can we create a place where tradition and technology can come together to answer questions of aesthetic relevance. I don't mean that just because we're conscious, we've got to forget about aesthetics and we've got to forget about the we're all from NIFT. And honestly, the one thing we have learned is to absolutely admire and worship aesthetics. So I think it's very much about keeping that at the core of everything, but then looking at how can we make this sustainable. So our guiding factor was looking at the Sustainable Development Goals and then putting that at the core of everything we do and linking the crafts and tradition to this. But what I want to do is actually run a small video to show you exactly what the business is about and who our customers are and why we're doing what we're doing. So hopefully this is going to work.
Rupa, we can't hear you.
Can you not hear that?
Yeah, now we can, but we can hear you, but.
Okay, give me 1 second then. I'm going to try and replace that with something else, which sometimes does happen, of course, with our wonderful technology over here. So let me know if you are able to, do you see a screen with the film now? Yes?
Yes. It's static, you know, it's not playing.
Rupa, can I share the screen if you just stop sharing?
Rupa, would you like to just kind of
Yeah, okay, give me a second. Is that still not visible?
No, it's not moving. It's not moving. So do you want to just kind of talk about
Okay, so I'll talk about this instead.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Yeah.
I'll just bring that up. Okay, so can you hear me speaking?
Yes.
All right. So let's go back to the presentation and I'll talk you through it because I did think sometimes that does happen. Anyway, so going back to the, oops, there we go. So now at least you can see the static slides, which I did have as a backup. So what our entire work is about, as I mentioned, is about sustainability, and that's absolutely at the core of it all. Now, we did a couple of surveys as well, and our whole focus has been on seeing what do people want and the need for the planet, people, as well as the economic benefit that it brings to not just us individually as businesses, but also to the craftspeople around the world. What can small businesses and micro enterprises, if you like, how can they in fact add to the GDP as well? Because one of the things that we came across is where people say it's a good thing to do, but our whole focus is on being, it's a good thing, but how can we make the good thing also a brilliant business decision? And I think a large part of our work has been focused on engaging at various levels. And here in the slide, as you can see, we have engagement with international organizations and governments as well. And a large part of it is to do with connecting, if you like, public and private entities to come together to understand why craft is important and why actually craft is not just a good thing to do, but in fact, it's a very beneficial thing for both consumers because they get something that is unique and beautiful, both in fashion and lifestyle, but also at the same time, it's doing it's bringing a value and economic growth in the country. So one of the statistics that I quite often look at is in fact that the small businesses, our artisans, especially in places like our lovely artisans in India, where every state has a different beautiful thing to share, beautiful technique and skill set. Now, if most of these artisans were in the organized sector generating income, both at the own level, but also at the global level, we'd all be better off. So actually that was the core element. And what we did is we used e-commerce and technology, if you like, to take us to that particular point in saying that the growth in e-commerce is so incredible today. And what can we do in reaching consumers and businesses globally by using a platform that focuses on, if you like, and creating ethical shopping literally at your fingertips for both you and me as consumers, but also for businesses. So inclusive trade as a journey has been pretty much about connecting those dots. And we're still very young as a business. We're only 2.5 years old, but we have been able to now work across the globe with multiple different organizations as well as with consumers. So thanks again, and I'm happy to share more as we go along.
Lovely. Very, very good presentations. Thank you to our panelists. My second question is, what has been your biggest challenge as women entrepreneurs? Is it investment, liaison with artisans for product development? Is it quality control, product positioning, marketing, or any other? And do you think the future of craft-based enterprises is sustainable, both for artisans and for business? So, Rupa, would you like to respond first?
Sure. So I'll just pick one of them because obviously I honestly believe that there are multiple challenges that one faces. Of course, as a woman entrepreneur and also as someone who is younger than other people when you start off a business. And I think I'll just touch upon investment just because I'm sure others can touch upon other things as well. I think investment, and when we talk about investment, it's not just necessarily private investment. I think the idea of social entrepreneurship and supporting social entrepreneurs and supporting social enterprises, which don't show the same growth or the rate of return as one might look at in a traditional conservative company, needs to become more the norm. And I think that has been one of the struggles in the early days when I've had to explain to people that, impact is not just shareholder, it's got to be stakeholder. And stakeholder goes beyond human beings. So I think I'll just sort of stop there. And I think for me, investment is critical if we want to see growth.
Thank you. Mitali, Louisa, what is your opinion?
Well, as I would agree with Rupa, as a women entrepreneur, challenges are few and many, depending on how much and how many you are able to take in your stride. And but I would like to highlight that I agree that starting off in the business to be taken seriously as business entrepreneurs is the biggest challenge. And I would like to share a very interesting anecdote that Lavisa and I faced right when we were starting off with our enterprise. We were developing a ceramic product line for one of our clients. And for that, we were scouring the deep heartlands of UP with a resource guide to find the right vendor. And we were at a factory owner's office for a meeting. And it was a very strange experience because he would not look at us or answer any of our questions that we put forth to him. Instead, what he was doing was that he would answer our questions to our mail guide and just not acknowledge us there. And it was such a strange experience facing such gender discrimination in your face that even though we got our answers to our questions, coming across such blatant subversion of one's identity was a strong reminder for us as to the kind of challenges ahead for us as women in the industry and taking on this business. Thankfully, so our journey since then has not been as difficult. So we are happy about that. But yes, that was one of the experiences that stayed with us for so many years, and I'm happy to share that with you all. Regarding the second part of the question, which is about the future of sustainable craft enterprises, I think the future is very bright. If you see Etsy, which started as a small platform in 2005 for the crafting community, has now a valuation of $12 billion. And seeing that, even companies like Amazon are getting into the business and have opened platforms for the crafting community called the Makers Market. So I would like to say with assertion that 2020s would be the decisive decade for new climate for business. I think there will be fundamental changes to the operating environment of the companies. And not only will they be making creative business strategies and collaboration on sustainability, but I think the companies will go even beyond that and will truly define their role in the society, which can help bring profound changes and truly deliver on value and positive outcomes for the society. So I think the future looks very bright, and I think we are on the right track. Thank you.
Thank you. Louisa, do you want to briefly comment?
I think I covered on this question.
Okay, all right. Jumki, would you like to briefly comment?
Yeah, sure. I think from my perspective, in terms of challenges, the biggest challenge has been quality. And that is partly because of the kind of, the kind of women that I have chosen to work with, because skill building is a very big part of what I do. So quality is a very big challenge, and I face that every single day, trying to, drill in that unless we meet this, no one's buying. And of course, working in India, designing in India, and then trying to sell overseas, even though I've lived in the US for many years, it's quite a challenge. But it's been really fun and exciting to navigate all of those. In terms of the future, I think I feel very positive about the future. Despite what's happened with the pandemic, I think it's brought on, it's been a huge wake-up call, and you never heard, random people or people in the masses talking about, even mentioning the word sustainability, and now it's become such a common word. Everyone's talking about it, and the inclusivity, equity, and all that, nature. All these have become very big issues for the world, and even non-craft industries are all talking about sustainability. So I feel very positive about it.
Thank you. My next question is for Dr. Sanjay Kumar Panda. Sir, you have extensive experience in the textiles and crafts sector. You have authored books on sericulture, empowering tribal women, and on corporate social responsibility. Sir, would you please share some of your thoughts and key experiences on the Indian craft sector, please?
Let me start with complimenting the organizers for bringing all of us together, and my best wishes for good health because we are passing through a global pandemic. I'm extremely delighted to be here with all of you, and I'm very happy that our 4 entrepreneurs, they shared their experience. One thing is very common, that they are all positive and they think that this industry has a bright future. I'll make a very small presentation just to put my stray thoughts together. Again, I would like to mention that what we are talking is not necessarily about craft. We are talking about women. We are talking about sustainability. So that gives, added dimension and a new value to the discussion. As all of you are aware, this thing has been told, so I will not repeat. What is craft? Is basically to do something with skill and by hand. And right hand side, I got a picture which speaks for itself. It's made out of cane. And you know whose portrait, I did not mention that thing. I worked in Tripura, which is famous, is a state in the northeastern region, famous for cane and bamboo handicraft. So there lies, the beauty of our crafts, the greatness of our skill. And, origin is basically agrarian village society and with locally available raw material, traditional skill, which is inherited within the family, and market was local. Let us try to appreciate, where we stand with and what we are going to achieve. Significance has been discussed, but, it is touching the life of something like 7 billion artisans. Families, that means 5 times more person, and is earning, something like $5 billion US. It's a very humble beginning, I should say. It is significant. I need not repeat. All of you are aware, and it has been discussed. It is the economic significance, it is the social significance, and it is the environmental significance. Let me now briefly touch about the women. I think which is fundamental to the discussion and is a very, very important dimension of the discussion. India, we recognize women as mothers who stand for, symbol of creation, love and existence. What is Mithali's experience, is the truth. That is what is actually the social milieu prevailing. But I think education technology can break any barriers. So that is a reality. We should see what we aim at and how to achieve that. Right hand side is a picture. It's the last International Women's Day. This was a picture made by school students. It indicates that what a woman is basically doing in her family. So multiple tasks and prevailing mindset, social prejudices. There are many Hindi films done on women and their problem. One is Lajja. If you get time, please see. Oh, it is very heart touching. That is the reality, things are changing and let us hope that it will change fast. So coming to, craft and status of women, the most important thing, it is a traditional skill. It is being done inside the house with the comfort. We can always create job, as Secretary Textiles, we created job for ladies to be trained and for operating sewing machine, industrial sewing machine operation period in the apparel and garment industry. But just imagine the problem that is created for a lady of the house to go and work outside. Whereas craft, if you promote, like you have shown, that was the advantage. That is the advantages of the lady. Then actually low investment, low gestation, good market, and income is of critical importance. SDG thing has been discussed. I will not repeat. I would like to mention that 2 things are extremely important when I am discussing about craft. That is about zero poverty and zero hunger. You have all seen, the poverty report. You have seen the Global Hunger Index report, which also came recently, 2020. All of us know the thing, let me not repeat. But the point is that I want to flag that hunger, poverty are very, very important dimensions of the prevailing society, not only in India, but in all the developing countries. Added to that, we have to look after, providing health and providing education. We have the public sector, we have the investment. But given a choice, if you have money, you can always, give the best to your children. And that is what will empower the craft and the women to do this thing. Other things, decent work, economic growth, and climate action are all you are. Let me add a very significant thing, which would be of great interest to you. All of you are aware about the so-called, farmer suicide in Maharashtra. But one study indicates that the similar incidence is much lower in the adjoining state of Gujarat and Rajasthan. And one of the main cause behind it is the importance of the particularly handicraft and handloom that gets in the state of Gujarat and Rajasthan as compared to Maharashtra, which give that flexibility, that cushion, that buffer, particularly when there is stress on the economy of the small family because of either a crop failure or a pest attack or a unseasonal rain not coming or coming at the inappropriate time. The family is totally in a distress with high loan burden, give rise to, go to the extreme step of committing suicide. Whereas craft provides that flexibility. So, distinguished ladies, you are doing a great thing. Those of you who are in the craft business and trying to sell the product outside, let me compliment you from the core of my heart for that thing. We are discussing not something about money. We are discussing something which touches the heart, which is of concern and which is of, great relevance to the society as a whole. So let me take you forward. You have mentioned about my book. So book, this is a picture. And this picture is in the cover of the book. Here, what is happening? A tribal lady of Tripura. They are the first generation settled agriculturists. Earlier, they were all nomads. They practice something that shifting cultivation. And here you see this lady has taken up, raising mulberry sericulture. And inside his house, she is harvesting cocoon, silk cocoon out of which silk yarn is woven. I'll just request you to look into the eye of the child and the eye of the mother. So, dear friends, that is what is the strength of the craft. That is what is the importance and relevance of craft for the Indian women and for the society at large. Rest of the thing, I'll just very quickly repeat. It is a traditional process that is made largely by hand. Process is slow. It is prone to defect. I saw that beautiful portrait, but if you ask me that you make 100 portrait, I cannot make. It is very difficult to make that thing because artisans level, skill level, everything very, very difficult to replicate uniform type of thing. That is one of the major constraints that we have to address. Design, old traditional monotonous, whatever they used to do, they do that thing. All of us know the Newton laws of motion. First law, inertia to change. When inertia to change apply to you and me, being so educated, it would not be proper to expect that the artisan, family and women will not have any resistance to change. That we have to keep in mind when we are thinking of doing something different of scale and different nature. Then marketing, in fact, is the major constant according to me. And the support to artisan. Let me take both the things together. Traditionally, as per the directive principle of the state policy in the Indian Constitution, promotion of craft and helping the poor people, looking after women is considered as a responsibility of the government. Government has been doing, but the task is very huge. So, dear friends, we are now in a place where we have to, like I have authored books on corporate social responsibility. It is, you have heard about Milton Friedman telling that corporate has no role in the society. Coming back to Stixon telling that the corporate cannot succeed in a society that is failing. Corporate has to look into the society for taking it forward. I am extremely grateful to all the, distinguished entrepreneurs who are here, that they are very socially sensitive. In fact, that is what is necessary. So that is, in fact, the thing, both in respect of marketing and looking beyond government. I think, is one of the major challenge of the sector. That is what is the present status today. Earning and social artisan, let me briefly touch upon that. Due to variety of causes, largely because the notwithstanding the superb and outstanding skill, the product being made with a traditional design, catering to a local market, and particularly those who do not distinguish between what is handmade and what is machine made, and with plastic and steel and other things coming as a big substitute to the natural raw material based on which the craft items are made. There is a great difficulty in the our traditional skilled artisan getting their decent wage from the market from their product. In fact, that is the crucial thing. How to increase earning of the artisan is the major challenge of the entire sector. Once you have less money, in the society, your social status is affected. Nobody look after your skill or what you make. No, everybody these days see that whether you are having a fridge in your house or not. I'm talking about the rural India. Whether you are having a two-wheeler or not, how much dowry you are able to give, as in when any marriage is arranged and things like that. These are basic facts. These are hard facts of reality. So that decides the social status of the artisan, and certainly, with a low income, this is a big, handicap of the sector. And as a result, the artisan is losing interest, and the younger generation is shifting to alternate occupations. If you see the number of, weaver, number of artisans, you see it is falling. I would be happy that I will be given the opportunity. I would like to interact. I would like to help and assist our panelists who are doing this thing. And I would expect that the artisans who are working with them, their younger generation would love to work with them with greater enthusiasm. And in this particular entire exercise, the only thing that matters is vitamin M, that is money. If you pay adequately, then they are with you. These days, with particularly urbanization coming up, if a uneducated, about class 10 pass a person, boy of the artisan family, if it is going to the nearby town, he is working as a lift operator, he gets something like 10,000 rupees. So our challenge is, if it is a handloom, if it is a handicraft, traditional person with skill, his son, his daughter should be able to earn at least 15,000 in Indian currency in a month. Dear friends, if we are able to assure that thing, definitely the craft sector would be different. And this is my last slide. Here I will try to talk of solution. What according to me I see. This is again, I have put one of a picture of my book because I thought that will enable me to talk something different. Here actually, friends, we all know about change. Making 1 + 1 makes 2. That is no great thing about it happens. But the challenge is how 1 + 1 can become 11. I am a student of chemistry and I worked on that hypothesis. And my finding is that if a group of people in a multidisciplinary team, maybe officer, maybe entrepreneur, maybe academician, and all together, multidisciplinary team, work with positive mindset. That is the most crucial. You can see the smiling faces of these children. That is the positive mindset, and this hand is the multidisciplinary team and use of appropriate technology. It is like information technology and other things. If these three things are there, the 1 + 1 can become 11, and that is the need of the craft sector. If I give a very crude example, suppose you have a hen, it lays an egg, and you have a chick after some time. In place of mother hen, you have got 2, 1 mother and 1 chick. That is 1 become 2. But just imagine a caterpillar. It is so ugly, you don't touch it, you get rashes. But lo and behold, the caterpillar becomes mature, form a cocoon, and out of the cocoon, you get a beautiful, butterfly. So dear friends, that bringing the butterfly out of the caterpillar is the chance of the requirement in craft sector. I'll briefly mention, according to me, I have the, benefit of working in the sector, particularly at the field level. I have not done much about export and other things. That is your domain and you are doing great things. But looking at the artisan, looking at the field level, my feeling is these are the 5 things which is required to be done. First is that, as you are rightly doing, we must find a new customer for the product. And the customer should be firstly sensitive about the craft sector. He or she should distinguish that what is the handmade product is about. Second thing, he or she should have money in her pocket or bag and should be willing to pay that thing. I am talking about the global thing and not necessarily the developed countries. I'm telling as a whole for the craft sector, both India and others taken together. So friends, this reaching the customer, reaching the new customer is the most important thing. And we have to publicize as all of you are doing through the internet, through the digital intervention. That is an excellent thing. And I think that is one of the positive fallout of the global pandemic, that it has made us more, technology friendly. And, whether it is Google or anything, we now find it much easier. Even small children, even the craft women, I think you must be, that would be your, views, that your customer before pandemic and after pandemic, the producer base, those you are helping are entirely different so far as the technology is concerned. That is the spread of, thing. Second thing is the new product that all of you have discussed. Should be new design, new color, new finish, concept as per the taste of the consumer. I wrote these books, and on handloom I have written, for any industry, it is the consumer is the God. And the main mantra is, we must make things as per the customer's requirement, as per the choice, as per the design, as per the color, as per the specification. Then for that, making that product, we need good infrastructure at the base level. As Secretary of Textile, we try to do something, the concept of promoting common facility center at the village level. I think you may also try to chip in, because if that type of infrastructure comes, so your job will become easier in making the product. Then processing has to be done with modern technology to the extent possible for eliminating the defect, particularly pre-loom, post-loom activities, and in the handicraft sector also, because you may be knowing that the definition of the General Goods and Services Tax Council has given, handicraft is one where machine is used, but hand is used to the substantial extent. So machine use is not bad. So that that is the thing, we have to make a judicious mix and use machine and modern technology. And then what the Honorable Prime Minister has mentioned, zero defect and a zero effect on environment. So this is so far as the production process is concerned. We have to give lot of stress on organizing the artisans. This is, craft is an unorganized sector in India. Every artisan is a unit. We need to bring the artisans together. And that is one of the biggest challenges. We have tried with cooperative, we have tried with government managed corporation. They have done some work, but there are limitations. I think the sunrise in this sector is nothing but the producer's company. I would urge upon you that if you promote this thing, then your job will become easier in getting the product for particularly producer's company. Then who will run this producer company? And there is no alternative than the startup. You see, with universal literacy, universal school education, you now go to any village, anywhere, and you will find somebody who has read up to class 10, 12. You will not get somebody who is illiterate. That is the strength, and that is a sign of development. So these people who are educated up to 10, they can be always given further education, further technology, these things. They should be the driving force so far as the production aspect is concerned. And the government has scheme for startup and other things that can be leveraged. And they should work basically organizing the production and online marketing. They should be basically, working as your agent. Those three of you, you made the presentation, beautiful thing. In a short span of 3 to 4 years, you have made remarkable success. I think you should grow, and let us hope you should grow in a geometric progression at a very fast rate. And so that, I look at that from the artisan's point of view, the women living in the society, in the craft sector, so that they get economically empowered to that extent. Last is the support thing. Support traditionally everywhere is being thought that government should do. Craftsmen everywhere, everybody tells that government should do. What government can do? Government has several things to do, right? Starting from, Corona pandemic to check Corona pandemic to health infrastructure, education infrastructure, building of toilet, building of drinking water, everything government has to. How government can do justice to the craft sector? So what is necessary in addition to what government is doing, we must chip in like that, making 1 + 1 11. And I have indicated the player who are going to come in a big way in red. The first is the private sector, like you. Those of you who made the presentation. Civil society can always play a role, in encouraging, improving morals of the artisan. That what you are doing is great. You must continue that. You must not give up that thing. That is a civil society. Then academic institutions like, our Dr. Srivastav, Nilima, and Madam Jha, all of them are doing great things. They are students. In fact, my last 3-4 years, I am into the business of mentoring new students, that they should set up startup and they should feel very strongly about the craft and taking it to greater heights in, contact with those of you who are in the business, and then media, of course, and the multilateral agency. So, dear friends, I thought I'll share these things with you, and this is where I end. And this is, all of you know, it is the muslin of India, which is told as Amar Khusru, that Hawa, it is water as if it is been woven over water. That is the beauty of Indian craft. It is the Dhakai muslin, and it is, and for us, promoting craft and women for sustainable development, we are basically speaking from two angles. One is providing livelihood, employment to the artisan, weaver, and women in particular, and other aspect is conservation of art, culture, and tradition. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for your wonderful insights. Mr. Sanjay Srivastava, Director NIFT Patna, who has led several institutional initiatives in the craft sector. Would you please elaborate on the role of NIFT and the interventions made by NIFT in the craft sector, please?
Allow me to start by saying how delighted I am to be joining you here today. In my roles at NIFT, I am constantly reminded about how well regarded the NIFT base is when it comes to fashion and the impact that designers and fashion-based human chains emerging out from various NIFT corridors have had all possible spaces where clothing and accessories can be used. Our recent track record in fashion really highlights the innovative and unique nature of creative inputs, and that this has significant benefits for the nation. The handcrafted elements have been there since NIFT started breathing fashion, and what we really see across in today's canvas of fashion and textiles, and probably I would say even beyond, is that NIFT as an institution has seen itself grouping and regrouping to formulate strategies towards what we can clearly define the Indian fashion industry, armed with the handcrafted sector residing in various clusters of India marked under handlooms and handicrafts. In culture, innovation, fashion, and creativity, as an institution, we at NIFT enjoy a unique advantage. We have great learners, and the unique craft clusters together bring together some of the designs which mostly has an imitable sense of place to create a unique product. What you see is what you get is not a runway for a successful fashion institution. Behind the glorious and glamorous canvas, there are so many stories which cannot paint the canvas well enough to be recognized, and NIFT commitment towards is nothing but natural. There are various segments of the crafts cluster initiatives that NIFT has started strengthening in the form of its own unique contribution to help the government vision of Make in India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. The craft cluster initiative provides the students of NIFT a systematic, continuous and regular exposure every year to the diversely rich and unique handlooms and handicrafts of India. The students are sensitized to the crafts clusters, artisans, their socio-economic structures and cultural ethos. The study is documented in NIFT's own style, and those involved in the reading of these remain mesmerized with the way the youth of India are defining design and its dimensions in the 17 campuses of NIFT have woven the knowledge gathered into such beautiful documents that only ensures NIFT and its commitment to the handloom and handicraft and the heritage of it. These silent warriors of NIFT, I must say, identify the gaps and the areas of intervention and co-create and redesign and placing extra dimension of hope and harmony that the handloom and handicrafts of India need today. The NIFT army takes it forward so that the designs residing in these clusters are showcased at various platforms, digital or virtual, static to dynamic. With the intensity of such interventions that NIFT has been practicing, it will not be long that NIFT would have woven its space at every possible dot where craft is being practiced. The journey of NIFT is to bring out more of such clusters does not stop here. It goes further to give students an opportunity to take graduating research in these clusters. The documents do become a reference point for further government interventions. NIFT has been evolving with the dreams of the nation, and if one side we have the festivals like Spectrum and Converge, to celebrate the youth breathing in the campus. The other side, we have the same youth conducting workshop and organizing craft bazaar in the campus, assisting the artisans for a much better stand in the changing consumer dynamics. Each NIFT campus organizes craft bazaar every year, where the artisans and weavers have been invited from the clusters. These craft bazaars are widely promoted and have served a platform for selling of products developed by them. With so much happening with the craft, it is quite evident that the huge efforts made must result in something which will remain unique to the existence of this institution in the country. The way NIFT documents and the craft of India reaching to remote areas in Ladakh to Andaman and Nicobar and from Kutch to Seven Sisters State in Northeast, the knowledge and the pictorial journey captured ultimately finds itself in a sustainable digital repository of craft cluster reports with a graded access to stakeholders. NIFT now intends to put this craft cluster initiative into a national knowledge portal. The journey of NIFT and its environment has always been a challenge for all at NIFT. Fostering the new generation of creative thinkers, the Institute has empowered them to articulate the ideology for world-class learning practices and try to sync it with clusters of India or vice versa. The Institute has entered into strategic alliances with craft clusters, labor service centers, KVIC, Ministry of Textiles, Khadi boards across the nation, and multiple entrepreneurs who are bound to remain grounded and committed to clusters excellence. The vision of the Institute addresses challenges and provides the impetus in setting highest academic standards. NIFT continues to strive to be nothing but the best, and this time in 2020, we have the entire handloom and handicraft community connected with us in a digital way. And even the COVID times has not derailed NIFT in its ambition to have very close linkages with the way India today should be thinking the Atmanirbhar way. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I mean, it was very clear, wonderful, thank you. We've run a little beyond time. However, we would, can we take a few questions, Neelima, very briefly?
Very briefly, ma'am. Yes.
Very briefly. So this is a request to our panelists, you know, if you could, if your answers could just be kind of as brief as possible. So the first question is, must say this, very interesting questions, and it's just that there's a time constraint, so we'll take only a few, but very good, very positive response from our viewers. To what extent can a traditional craft be redesigned for marketability without changing the essence of its authenticity? Lovisa, would you take this question, please?
Sure, good question. We have an incredible range of craft skills in India and some of the best craftspeople in India. These skills can only survive if they live in every generation, and not just live, but thrive and grow. As Dr. Panda rightly said, that we need the next generation of craft people to think of the traditional skills as viable and a profitable vocation. And this can only happen if the products being made by artisans match the expectations of the market. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And if they don't, it's very important that necessary modifications in design, in color, in product usage be made so that it's appealing to the customer. But it's very important that when redesigning or changing or modifying the craft, it should not be the cost of the craft or the cost of losing the skill sets. The redesigning should add or maintain the existing skills. I'll share an example. We're working with a weaving community in Gujarat with whom we met on Instagram. We started interacting, and the craftspeople were totally clued in about the trends. They offered us so many new product options. Traditionally, they've been just weaving shawls, but they offered us products which were runners, kitchen towels, curtains, shower curtains, throws, and bedspreads. And this is an example of how a craft community is thriving and evolving and being relevant in the current market while still maintaining and increasing their skill sets. I hope I've answered the question.
Thank you, Lisa. The second question is, how can a committed consumer pool be created for ethical craft business? Rupa, may I request you to respond to this one?
Sure. Thanks very much again. And I think in terms of, as we've all said, having great crafts is great, but then if it doesn't meet consumer preferences, or if consumers are not aware, we have a gap. We have something that we need to work on. So to build a consumer pool, if we're talking about getting people interested and willing to part with their resources to actually acquire these beautiful products, I think it has to fit into their life or to their particular requirements. And I go back to that. The two steps to this, I would say. One is very in-depth research. Market targeting and customer targeting is just so critical. So at the end of the crafts industry, and I just heard Mr. Srivastava also talk about how NIFT is now working with clusters. NIFT is working in collaboration with so many different craft models. I would say that there is a great benefit in supporting craft industry in understanding what the requirements are. And especially NIFT is in such a great position to support, aesthetics and trends and working on projects. I think the part that I'm mentioning about the research element and developing products that are going to work would have to come on one side. And the second bit of it has got to be visibility. Is absolutely critical. And I of course, my forte at the moment is e-commerce. And I can only say that the growth of e-commerce, I mean, we're looking at 30%, 34% growth year on year. We're looking at an $800 billion industry in the United States and a couple of trillion globally. I think using digital resources, we can reach a lot more people. Social media, and I think Lovisa mentioned Instagram, and that's a great example of how she has been able to actually connect with the weaver so far away. And yet be able to communicate and make it visible. So I think using digital technology, including social media, getting resources through the likes of NIFT and connecting both at the private sector level, but also at the public sector level. Because I think, the issues have got to start syncing. We can't be working on two separate paths which go completely diagonally away from each other. They've got to start connecting with each other. And I think that is probably how we will be successful in India and globally in creating a pool of people who are interested. Just a quick example, at Inclusive Trade, the way we have got our 2,000 odd customers is primarily through, I would say, marketing, social media, events, visibility, and educating the customer as to why they are going to pay more and why it means something for them. So I think that part of it for us has been the reason why people actually come back and you have returning customers. So that's basically I would say, the three-step model. I hope that's answered.
Wonderful. Thank you. How can more women be encouraged to venture into crafts entrepreneurship? Jhumki, would you take this question, please?
Yes, sure. Being an entrepreneur is very daunting. And I think we've all been through that. It's not an easy thing to plunge into. But I think when you're an entrepreneur, when you choose to be an entrepreneur, you typically follow your passion. There's some kind of passion that you have that you then give life to it, give birth to it. And so that itself, I think, is a very big motivator for following your passion and creating a profession out of it. So I think that is a big motivation for young women. Secondly, I would say that, working in this sector, you get the opportunity to create jobs. Being an entrepreneur, you get an opportunity to create jobs. And that is not just a wonderful feeling, but it's so beneficial to society. And thirdly, of course, as a woman, you have the ability, and I can say this from my experiences, to understand the challenges that women face, particularly the women in rural areas, women who are homebound, many who cannot, they don't have permission to go out of their house. So enfolding them, including them in our growth and making them a part of this growth that Atmanirbhar Bharat is trying to achieve, I think is a wonderful thing. So do not fear, just follow your passions and get into it.
Thank you. much as we would like to take a lot more questions, because we have a very, very rich uh, stream of questions coming in, but I think we are constrained for time. Nilima, how are we doing with time?
We are overshooting it.
Okay, okay. In that case, I would like to just briefly sum up in one sentence. What we've got today is three perspectives of women entrepreneurs, of the government, and of the academia, and beautifully synergized together. And this synergy is most relevant in order to strengthen the craft sector, and more importantly, encourage entrepreneurship in the craft sector. And I would like to thank our illustrious panelists, Jhumki, Mitali, Lovisa, Rupa, Dr. Sanjay Panda, Mr. Sanjay Srivastav, and of course, our very, very supportive Nilima. A very, very thank you to you, all of you, and especially to our viewers also, and for your very encouraging comments, which have been coming in steadily all through. Thank you so much to all our viewers. This webinar can also be viewed on YouTube. And with this, we come to a close. Thank you all once again. Namaste.